Part 6, Revealing Hidden Formats in Genesis. And I do believe that these are the first writer's formats in the text. So, still haven't got my voice fixed yet. And we're still in a 4-verse format. Bear to birth, that's pretty easy. Rose to stood up. It rose up, I changed to stood up. And told it to Abraham what I'm about to do to them in Sodom. I needed to add the word Sodom here because you can see that this text is just dropped off, and yet we have 2 verses then completed when I do this. Now, here we have from Isaac's son will become my nation, and and from his everyone in the kingdom on earth will be blessed. This is our creator speaking pretty much. So the thing here is I had to add this because there is no real text that says that I can think of right now off the top of my head that our creator speaks to Isaac and says, through him shall become his nation, my nation. And I added the word my because we know what's going to happen when he comes out of Egypt. But these 4 dots, they're going to continue with these here for a 4-verse format. So what I'm about to do to them in Sodom, for they are crying out from Sodom of their great evilness. Now, I just explained sin, no. Evilness is the acts against our Creator now, and I explained that above by saying they're against our Creator. Evilness is now defined as against our Creator. But you notice that those 2 verses, they don't really hook with any of these down here, how quickly it does equal or add or join together. So that kind of just shows you how the text is, how they played around with it, added this out of nowhere into here, and then needed this words to say whatever they wanted to try to make up to say. But the object here is they're wrong and it's getting corrected. I just noticed how dirty my glasses are, and I can live with them, I guess, at the best. And kill them all, because he has to tell them what he's going to do to them in Sodom, because Abraham is going to be asking whether he'll sweep away. And that's just like flooding the earth, that he'll sweep them away but still leave a remnant type of act that Noah's thinking that's going on. This is where he would have got that information from, that he knows they, on the great flood, he didn't kill everybody. About between the righteous, well, they're not really righteous. You have to be good, because if they're righteous, that means they were completely under our Creator. And here, I don't want to say just that our Creator would have killed just the righteous, but the good with the wicked, because even though he swept everybody away in the great flood, not everybody was onto him, but they were good. So he left a remnant of people of different races around the world. Now comes the questions, and here it's from 50 good people and got to get righteous out of there. We swept. Turn my keyboard off. And I switched those words around later. Needed to add the word because, didn't need this verse, and then 50, good in the city. So that's why I've got this as a city instead of a large village. that there had to be hundreds here in this. Is the village of 100? I might change that word later. Don't know. So let me just say that I might change that word later. I will kill them, not spare them, but kill them on their account. I will not kill them. No, why am I getting rid of the word spare? I want to make sure the word kill is involved with the text because it's up above here that I had to put into the text. But I'm just trying to keep that through it. There's 40. I will not kill them. Here I'm just having to add the word kill. I will not do it on the account of the 40, which I will not kill them on the 40. Suppose there are 10 found there. I got rid of these 20s and 30s grouping, just cut the story down a little bit. And then he departed from Abraham. Now, did he ascend from Abraham or did he depart? I'm going to put that as, let's talk about whether our Creator just departed or did he ascend. In fact, I'm going to do this and take a look at that text later. Now comes all this text is going to be out. Yeah, this is just, no, this story here about Lot went out doorway and offered his daughters. No, that is not what you do when you're a good person. Arose, brimstone to charcoal. Now I'm using the word charcoal because I've lived where we had to have a fireplace to heat the home as the winter was setting or getting closer. And I know that the charcoal I'm talking about, you can see it's still glowing. It's not burnt. But you could, if you picked it up with the tongs, it would still be in flames, and there'd be few white ashes or gray ashes around that piece that I picked up. So that's what I'm saying. It's charcoal, not brimstone. So those who've been around fire would understand what I'm talking about by changing this to a better word, more truthful word. And they saw the smoke ascending. Now here, when we look at the maps that I had, and I put up this one here, and I showed you that Abraham had moved to the Oaks, and yet from here to here, you can see it's less than a mile away. Maybe it's a mile away. And if you know anything about seeing smoke, you would definitely can see smoke rising maybe 12, maybe 10 miles. Depends how flat the surface is. But the object is here in Florida, I think we see almost 15 miles. But anyways, so that's where he is at when he is seeing Sodom, the smoke ascend from there. And they didn't lay with their father, so that's gone out. For he is a prophet, can't be a prophet until actually what he says, our Creator, comes true. So can't have that happen. Just the wrong use of the word. Notice we're still in a 4-verse format because it only happens once in Genesis. So all this text was in 4-verse. On the 8th day, laughter, it turns really just happy for her. And they wouldn't be just laughing because she's had a child in her old age, but they'd be just happy for her. And everyone, not who, but most females would have the most relationship of the word happy than a male. So I guess I'm using it first time here, and I leave it green this time. There's a son, not children. In my old age, talking about birth in her old age, not his old age. And we know his name, so we can put that in. And now Abraham held a great feast. Now, did I change this feast to like the word banquet and using the word banquet? That word needs to be looked up later because a banquet could be large because it could be set up by a king. A feast, let me see what they have in the theorist. Just a buffet, no. Banquet's too big of a word. That's too many people. Yeah, I guess feast might have to stick around, but I'm trying to think of a great dinner that could be used here instead of the word feast. So that could get changed in the future. Mocking Isaac. We have to let him know who he was mocking. Send her away, drive her out, send away, same thing, but I'm just adding the word away because I don't like the word drive out. Driving is going to be related to like they drove the herd type of word. But right now it's out so I can use these words and keep the same meaning for the same definition of the word all the way through the text. Your inherit or not inherit. Inherit. And this, not just this matter, but this distressed him, which she said above, this distressed, not that the matter distressed him, but that's discussed here, so it's this, and Abraham greatly because it's his son. And why he appeared and told him, do not be distressed because of Ishmael. Then he's trying to say, yes, Sarah might have messed up, but what she's saying to you now is true. That she now knows that I didn't lie to her when I said she's. Oh, well, still not. I thought a cough drop would help my voice out. But I think it's doing more harm than good. Well, my eyes are watering. So I added the word true. And then this is not a 4-verse. And later when I looked to see where I could put it, it didn't fit. So I'm saying that's all going to be removed. Everything at 8 point. Everything at 8 point will be removed. Okay. I just didn't know if I should start this video over or not. I might have to do that. I'm not sure. Took foods, just not bread. They didn't live on bread alone. And water, and gave it to her. Gave it to her. This is not the wilderness. It is a forest. A lot of people don't understand how thick brush grows between a certain, what's it called, latitude or longitude, something, as you go down towards the equator. I am originally from Michigan, and I'm telling you, you can actually see into the forest quite a distance. You can see the animals, if they're close by. In Florida, the brush is so thick that when it grows up, you see just that. You don't get to see into the forest. That brush thickness, I'm using that as the wilderness later type of thickness. The Jordan's wilderness, where there's a lot of water that would be around to make it really thick. I'm just not sure how the brush is in Israel, because I know they're pretty much more south than. I have to look that up, see where that's at. But I'm using the word forest because it was an oak forest, and they wandered to the forest. I'm still thinking they're in oak woods here, or this is where she'd be close to it, because they have to live by Abraham or Isaac's sons later. So, and she went just a bow shot away, cried out, and then our Creator talked to her. Or yes, they had an angel talk to her, but I'm saying our Creator talked to her. Okay, so how many times in the text does our Creator talk to a female? This is one of the rare times he does. So even though the text would have had angel, no, because he called to her from heaven. That has to be our Creator. And as they walked, I guess that's just what I'm saying. I'm adding that, and because they had to see this spring water. Spring water is water that just comes up out of the ground. If you look at the mounts that are over Israel from the Jordan River, this water that would be here will go through the land, and then down here there's an aquifer, and then the aquifer is overflowing with water, so it'll surface back up on the surface and just pop out of the land many places. And this was a very true of the land of all Israel through there. So the promised land, I'll say right now then. And he helped her, as she grew. So here, I needed to do the word help her, and this would be to um, make sure she could provide for her son as he's growing up. It doesn't talk about her getting married. So, but the object is that, um, or having a husband, I should say, uh, and lived in this forest again, not wilderness. And here, just a made-up story that it does not have anything really truly to do with the text or our Creator's everlasting promises. So I'll remove some of that. Sojourned in the land of Philistines for many days. Yeah. This is where I'm saying that these would have been Japheth's descendants, and they're starting to show up now. And like I said, it would have been like a um, one of the sons from Japheth. Um, his family became multiplied to where he owned a lot. So it would have been land of the Philistines, but it would have just been an area in Japheth's named for probably Philip or something like that. But the object here is that when I say that the Philistines here in the text are descendants from Noah, that's why I'm saying that. Because everybody in the promised land was Hebrew. Okay, we have as one language from the sea to the water to the Jordan, up and down. Just to keep that in mind, uh, they weren't quite invaded with a lot of races yet, so because they spoke Hebrew. Um, and here he's going to go to a hilltop because he's going to ask him to sacrifice him as an offering, not a burnt offering. Um, Sacrifice means to kill him, and this is to kill him as an offering uh, to Yv, as an offering to me. Um, this is where I have a hard time with people not understanding the two words have that meaning. One is to kill him, and then it's presenting him on the altar, and he is going to then offer him up with a flame as this offering. This is the first time it becomes similar to the offering that our Creator is going to say a sin offering for not obeying the 12 commandments. But this is the first time that shows as a likeness that, but this is not going to happen. But it's not as a burnt offering. There is no burnt offerings when you study the text, and I'm going to get into all of them. It's just a matter of time before I get to them. So he saddles up and he takes his male servants, took two of his male servants, and they went to look for the hilltop. And it's the next day because they took animals, so they knew that it was going to be a journey, so it has to be the next day. He saw a hilltop from the distance. Because the hills because Israel is going to be pronounced as a hilly country, but upon the hills, there's still a little bit of flatness to them. So what he's looking for is a hill, just one hill that goes up, and he's looking for it that has a flat to it. So that's where he was looking for that. And since anybody now can look on the maps, maybe they can still see the land has not been, they didn't mow down a whole mountain, that we might have a location if it's close enough within a day ride from the location of where Abraham I have marked on the map. That's supposed to be by, at that time, oak forest. Now, wood for the offering. Okay, let me see here. And Isaac carried it. A fire striker. He instead of the word laid, I'm going to have it carried. So, now the wood, it depends. They're in they're going to a hill. There's plenty of broken branches around later. This could have been the starting of the fire and the smaller sticks, okay? And that's what he's carrying, not the larger tree trunks and stuff, or really large branches. And I used it as a fire striker. In his hand, the fire. You wouldn't carry the fire. You couldn't keep it sustained long enough for this trip. So it's a fire striker. It's a piece of flint, and he's got a knife where he can chip at it to start the grass on fire, and then those small sticks will start, it's called kindling. And then you can put the larger pieces of wood on it. For those of you who have never made a fire, that's how you get a fire going. I've started many of those. In example, the word replied, this is kind of, he's just not answering. It's a reply to his question. So, and now here I'm adding the word stone, and I have to keep the word altar because it's going to be something that what they had at that time as an altar, or would make to make this offering. Okay, so it has to be out of stone. So on this hilltop, he had to find many stones to put that together. To sacrifice a son, not slay him, sacrifice. The object, as our Creator said, sacrifice him for me. Because if you said kill his son, that isn't what our Creator was doing. He was testing him to see if he would sacrifice to him, to our Creator, and then offer him up. Do not kill him. I could have used the word sacrifice, but right now I'm going to come back and say, now our Creator is telling him, do not kill him. Our Creator is changing the command. I stayed with the command here. Now here I can use kill him because our Creator is changing the direction. And I know you fear me, but you obey me. Not fear our Creator, you obey our Creator. Saw a lamb. See how they had used the word ram? And not a regular ram that you're thinking of with great big twisted horns or whatever. No, this is a lamb. It has to be small and had to be caught in the thicket. And that would be, the thicket is a lot of times the brush down here grows so thick with its branches. Think of it like a hedgerow, and probably running around got caught into it. And then Abraham come by, and maybe that's when they started running. He got scared, got caught. But the object is maybe our Creator put him there on purpose and kept him quiet until he was needed. Now this is very important. Abraham went and took the lamb not for his burnt offering, but it was a peace offering. Now, there is no definition for the word peace offering in any of the text. I've looked for it. I couldn't find the meaning. I do know that Saul was making a peace offering to our Creator of the war that they were going to have with the Philistines. So the thing here is here Abram is at peace now that he's not killing him. He's not going to sacrifice his son or kill his son. And so this is now a peace offering. Okay. It's a perfect place for me to put the word peace offering because Abraham now has this peace about him instead of all the thoughts that he had of testing his will, whether he was really going to truly obey our Creator or not. I've explained why it's a vow, it's to our Creator. And this, our Creator's making a vow to himself here. Greatly bless his, because he's talking about not just you, but it's more or less about what he's going to do with Isaac's sons, because now they're going to be like the stars in heaven. And by the way, I think there's only something like 6,000 or 7,000 visible stars by the eye. So even though they look a lot, I've looked at them quite a many nights. But someone counted and told me, and I was really shocked at that number. Sure looks like there's hundreds of thousands up there. All to everyone. And this is one of the verses that I'm using. Remember, I brought up those words about a king being blessed, the whole earth from his seed. Here, I'm keeping all that, and because he's obeyed him. Now we all of a sudden have Sarah dying. I don't know where this text is, if it's going to go in the right place where this is all going to get moved around. I'm not sure how correct in order all this is, because when you skip over a lot of these verses, all of a sudden it does change a lot of things. Of they might have grabbed it and put it here. So, but I can't recall too many verses that I moved around. This city didn't exist. Hebron seemed to be another refuge city, and it didn't exist at this time. Then he stood before Canaans. I had to add this word because that's the land he is in, so it's before their sons, whoever these sons are, the son from Heth. And then you'll find that these are actually more than just I got Canaan's as many sons that he was before that when he was asking, and he spake to the sons for Heth. Now later this guy is going to be here, but the object is this isn't just him and his sons that he's speaking to. I needed more people there, or more males there, and it has to be Canaan's. And give or allow. I'm saying that's really too close. That's pretty much the same. Site is really land. And just added the word peace to make the format. And then you are a providing Lord. They have it as a prince, but like I said, I'll be changing a lot of words to the word Lord. And that's in here it's a mighty, but he was mighty because he had many rams and goats, and they were providing for many people around there. In other words, they were starting to stop hunting. They only had so many rabbits that they could kill, but the poor people, if they wanted meat, they just go over and ask them to sell me a ram, just like people do still today. Go to a farmer and say, sell me a half a cow or sell me a whole cow, and they'll cut them up for them or butcher them up. The choices for graves, no, not just graves, but graveyards, because there could have been many around there. Because at this time you can see that that family on that land was burying their dead on their own land, so there would have been many graveyards. but they wouldn't have had it because he was he says, what does he call himself? I got it as a sojourner, but I got to now living with you, among you, live among you. So sojourner isn't the right word. And please sell me, not give to me, because he's saying you just aren't going to give him. You want to sell it to him. The cave by my field. He already owns the field, okay? So to give him a cave, that's still somebody's property. As we go through here, you're going to find that Abraham does give him money. So I'm going to just add the word sell here to begin with. That Abraham wouldn't have been begging just to give me because I'm a great provider here. Don't do me any favors here. Let me buy it from you to make sure that that's my descendants forever. So, but the object here is this. And the males, this is where I needed the word males from, like Canaan's, put all the males together, like it was a village discussion that he needed to present to be able to get to the land. So just remember that when you think about the time back there, they would have a place where they would have their meeting together, probably what's going on, what's not going on, what's tradable, what's not tradable, that type of thing. They had this place that they went to. So it has to be in the village. Kind of like next to one of the markets, probably by a village. But it's the place that they did have to discuss matters. And I only have males there. I don't have females there, just to let you know the text doesn't have females here. It's 37 minutes. It looks like I'm going to have to run over. They didn't have shekels at that time. That's a flat pressed coin. No, they had pieces of silver. So it's 4 silvers between me and you. And they had a scale that they would weigh out. So it would probably be 4 weights of silver, whatever their weight was. So it's not really 4 pieces, but it's four silver, 4 weights of silver, and weighed it out to him. So Abraham had his own scales, and people were trusting his scales because they were buying and selling him his rams and goats. So, and he ended up buying it, not possession, but he bought it. Now he's going to send his trusted servant, and you notice there's only 2 verses here. So I'm going to have to make up a 3rd verse here. Oh, I did. And that'll be a surprise to you when you get there. But the object is none of this is needed. It's just not true here. Just vow to me. A vow is before our Creator. And you will not take, but you will receive. You are receiving. They have to have this agreement that it will be given. So the word take is wrong, and the word receive. Now I know received is used someplace else. That's why I keep using the word receive throughout the text, but can't remember what verse that actually comes from. Receive a wife for my son Isaac. And then he's asked him, should I take your son back if she refuses? But no, my father's here. Yeah. For why he sent me to my father here. maybe I got that wrong. Maybe it reads better later. And I added the word here. Maybe it's there. Anyways, I guess that will have to listen to what happens later. Because if it reads okay later when I'm reading it all together, reading just those two verses, not making sense right now in my head. Given, and I needed the word more here. Land and I more. And then receive a wife again. Bow, bow. And they didn't have camels, they had donkeys that they rode on. In the village of their land, which would be Shem's land, but I didn't want to put Shem's land here when I'm getting rid of this name here. They didn't have village. They didn't have names for villages. They just knew that they existed, okay? And this is, like I said, city to village, just like Sodom. How big really was it? But the object is they're girls that go out to get the water, not women, females, but I just want to put them at a younger age. So girls are of a younger age than women. And this supposed to be yellow. I must have added that word. And I will draw water for your donkeys too. Also is two. 42. So minutes. Jar to water skin. I can't think of a better word yet for it right now, but it was a water skin, not a jar. Because he wouldn't have drank from the jar. He would have tipped the skin up and drank it. You've seen those. Please. Water skin blockades. Now here, when I'm adding the word tent instead of room, I've explained that they had different tents. Well, his family was large enough where he could have to lodge. It's not his lodging, but for his relatives to visit. These people were very wealthy. When you understand the stories, they had families around, so they had relative tents to stay at, not just bypassing travelers. Tents for relatives. See, they got like lodgers, and I didn't really want to have them being innkeepers, okay? They need to be, because we don't know where this place takes place, so it has to be tents for relatives. Now, they could have been stick huts as well. They would have lasted longer. Tents need to be serviced a lot, so bowed, no, he called out to YV, didn't low and worship YV. Worship is a special word that means to be sacrificing and to make an offer. Okay. Whatever secular dictionary you're reading word worship from, no. I'm getting this from the Hebrew text, is what the word worship means. Blessed listened to me. So I guess this should be this color. And the girl is Rebecca. It ran ahead of him. And then her brother. I don't think I raced through a lot that doesn't need to be. The tent and understanding that they had relatives' tents. Probably end up explaining that later. Or again when I clean up the text.